Good evening, East Alabama. Welcome into the locker room on this Friday afternoon. My name is Namath Pitts. I hope you're all having a great Friday. I want to thank you for joining us here on the locker room. We're going to finish the week strong by previewing the youth football games for this weekend and previewing the high school football games that involve East Alabama teams right here in the Calhoun and Cleveland counties. We're going to talk about all those games for tonight. Obviously, weather looking better than it did earlier this week, so hopefully there will be some safe football games that take place tonight. Hey, I want to remind you to hit that like and follow button on our East Alabama Now page so that you don't miss the locker room. We're here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Also, East Alabama Now News is tonight at 6:30 p.m. Mike Stedham and Katie Edwards have your local news. John Holder has your local weather, and Jordan Smith has your local sports. We also have our EAN School Spirit competition that is still going on right here on our Facebook page. All you have to do is simply like the original post of the school that you want to vote for. Oxford, Alexandria, Spring Garden, Ohatchee, and Cleveland County are currently in that school spirit competition. So if you don't go to one of those schools, I would encourage you to submit a video before it is too late, because again, we're already at the halfway point of the season. We will give out the winner on the final week at the final pep rally. All right, we're going to preview youth football games for this weekend. We're going to start with the big division, and let's talk about two teams that this is their first year in Northeast Alabama Youth Athletics, and that is Hoax Bluff and Cherokee County. And these two teams will meet this weekend. This will be the first time these two teams have met since they came over to the Northeast Alabama Youth Athletics. But I want to talk a little bit about how these teams have done so far to kind of start the season. Both these teams are very well balanced on both sides of the ball. I know that when you talk about Hoax Bluff, their seniors team has a really, really, really talented player that I've heard a lot about. And so I think, though, what's interesting is these two teams, they're familiar with each other. They know each other because of, obviously, they've played each other, year in and year out. Even when they were in a different league before they joined Northeast Alabama Youth Athletics, they still played each other. For the sophomores, Cherokee County's 1-1 on the season. Hoax Bluff is 1-2. In the juniors, Cherokee County has 1-1 and Hoax Bluff is 1-2. And in the senior division, Cherokee County's 2-0 and Hoax Bluff is 3-0. So these teams are very similar, as in, sophomores 1-1, and then 1-2, juniors 1-1, 1-2, and then seniors 3-0 and 2-0. That's the big one for me, is the seniors game. Both of those teams are still trying to stay undefeated on the season, so I'm interested to see how that one will play out. And those games will be at Cherokee County this weekend, with the sophomores starting at 9 a.m. The Lincoln Golden Bears and Oxford Yellow Jackets will meet this week. Oxford coming off a bye week. Oxford sophomores are 2-0 on the season. Lincoln is 1-1 in the sophomore division. In the junior division, Oxford is 2-0 and Lincoln is 0-2. And in the senior division, both teams are 0-2. So Lincoln and Oxford both still looking for their first win of the season in the senior division, and somebody is going to get that this weekend. Now, when I talk about Oxford, I look at a couple different players. The senior team, I talked about Major Mims before, how talented of a player he is for them. They have some really talented players. And, Lincoln, again, they were in Northeast Alabama Youth Athletics last year, getting a good feel of some good competition. Oxford is certainly, just like high school, has a really, really strong youth program. So Oxford and Lincoln will meet this weekend at Lamar Field. This weekend it'll be Anniston and Jacksonville. Has not been as good of a start to the season for these teams as maybe years before. In the sophomore division, Anniston and Jacksonville are both 1-2 on the season. In the junior division, Anniston's 2-1 and Jacksonville is 1-2. For the seniors, Jacksonville still undefeated 3-0. Anniston is 0-3. It is weird to see an Anniston senior team be 0-3, but that is the case here. And when you talk about these teams, I think when you talk about Jacksonville, I look at the sophomores and I look at Elijah Howard and Christian Sims, Christian Leonard, a couple players for them. I look at Jacksonville juniors. Amari McGriff is a player that stands out to me for them to start off. He had a couple of big players last week for them. Aiden McNeese, one of the more talented running backs. And then for Jacksonville seniors, Tyson Morris, Brentley Hammett made a lot of great plays last week. So those two are kind of the first two that stand out when you talk about them. But you also got to talk about Mekhi Mixon. He scored a touchdown last week. So they have some talented players. I've always talked about Barrett Edwards as a hard-nosed player. So that's what Jacksonville has. For Anniston, for the Bulldogs, again, it's been a little bit of a tough start to the season. They still have some talented players like Aiden Colbert, Marcedric Williams Jr., Taquarian Taylor, Chevis Carr Jr. Those are some talented players. For the senior team, for the Anniston Bulldogs, for the Anniston Juniors, they also have some talented players like DeMalo Jones Jr., Princeton Pruitt, Braylon Colbert, and just hasn't been a good season so far for Anniston. But Jacksonville seniors have been really, really good. Let's move to the small school. Let's talk about what should be a great game in probably both divisions, honestly, or all three divisions, all three age groups, pardon me. But that is Ohatchee and Sax. In the sophomores, Ohatchee is 3-0 and Sax is 2-0. In the juniors, Sax is 2-0, Ohatchee is 1-2. And in the seniors, Ohatchee is 3-0 and Sax is 1-1. So big test for Coach Bruner and the seniors, and my brother Dalton Rozelle, who coaches the Sax seniors. Big test in that game this week. But let's break these teams down a little bit more, because obviously when you talk about Ohatchee and you talk about Ohatchee sophomores, I think you got to talk a little bit about Asher Griffith. He's the first guy. Samson Mange has had a huge season so far. Samson Mange has carried the workload for Ohatchee so far for the sophomores. Jagger Griffith has carried the load for the juniors team so far for Ohatchee. He's really talented. And for the senior group, I got to give a shout out to a guy that I hear likes to watch our highlights all the time. That's Baylor Smith. We had him on the show the last time we had Ohatchee highlights. But also talk about, you haven't seen a lot of him this year, but bumping up Hunter Cannell. But Henry Screws had an interception a couple weeks ago. But for the most part, it's really been Baylor Smith and LJ Stone. They connected on a couple big plays. Shaw Mange had a run here and there. So that's what Ohatchee has in terms of talent. For Sax, there's a couple different ways you can go. Damani Dukes, I think there's some really talented players. Of course, when I talk about the junior team, I got to give a shout out to my little nephew, David Rozelle. And then when I talk about the sophomores, I got to give a shout out to my other little nephew, Eli Rozelle. Want to make sure I give them a shout out. But it's going to be a great Saturday between Ohatchee and Sax. Two teams that are very balanced in both sides of the ball. All right, White Plains and Pleasant Valley play this week. It's been a little bit of a rough season for Pleasant Valley. Their sophomores are 0-3, their juniors are 0-3, and their seniors are 0-3. White Plains, on the other hand, their sophomores are 3-0, their juniors are 3-0, and their seniors are 1-2. So the really good sophomores and juniors team for White Plains. Their sophomores are really, really good, and it's because they've got some talented players. Cole Hall's one of them. Trey Roden's another one. Gray Tyree's a great defensive player for White Plains. Hunter George scored 3 touchdowns last week. Probably one of their best players, if not the best. And then for the junior team, we kind of talked a little bit about it, but Sam Hall, earlier in the year, we showed some highlights of him. He made a couple big plays for them. Prince Nelson had some big plays. Ryder Pollard for them. And then for the senior team, Sawyer Jones, Kaysen Hall, Anderson Hall, Mason Hall, all the Hall brothers have made an impact so far this season for White Plains. So that's what I like about the Wildcats. Pleasant Valley, it's been a little bit of a struggle so far. Let's talk about Mumford and Welborn, because these two teams both need some wins. Mumford sophomores 0-2, Welborn sophomores 1-2. Mumford juniors are 0-2, Welborn is 1-2, and senior-wise, Mumford is 1-1, and Welborn is 1-2. Not a lot to say really about Mumford personally, because I don't know a lot about Mumford. I know Brian Swain Jr. is a great player for the senior team. He sticks out to me when you talk about them. For Welborn, you talk about the sophomores. Camden Layton had a lot of big plays for them, who's kind of been the first guy that sticks out to me when you talk about the sophomores. When you talk about the juniors, Nolan McVeigh has made some big plays. Kavion Traylor, Luke Swan, I know Caden Rutledge made a play earlier in the season. They're talented, just got to put together. And then the senior team really kind of goes behind Nick Halfley and, of course, Hayden Ford and Ray Ford made some big plays offensively. So I think this will be a good one with two teams that really both need some wins. And the final game of the weekend is Piedmont going on the road to Bill Bryan Stadium to face Weaver. And again, unfortunate news for Weaver this year. We're kind of talking about their seniors and Jay Sean Burrow. His dad had commented he wasn't playing again this season for them. So outside of Jay Sean Burrow, really you got to have somebody step up. Javon McGatha, probably the guy for them to do that when you talk about Weaver seniors. When you talk about Weaver juniors, Zane Moore is a huge-time player. DJ Howell is a big-time player. I like both of those players for Weaver's juniors. They're sophomores, kind of led by Merritt Burns, who's made a lot of plays for them this season. And then you talk about Piedmont. I mean, they're really talented across the level. Their senior team has a lot of talent. I know Isaiah Pinto's a great player. There's a lot of other players outside of that. Wyatt Stanley, Jordan Smith, Jamison Hill, Logan Bonner, Kobe Jones, Hudson Sanders, Raylan Jones. So a lot of good players for Piedmont. Their juniors team is led by a couple really talented players. Obviously, Tripp Snyder, Jackson Crook, and Brantley Franklin have made a lot of plays for the Piedmont juniors this season. And Piedmont sophomores are good as well. So it's going to be a great weekend of youth football games for Northeast Alabama Youth Athletics. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to preview 6 games for high school football taking place tonight. So don't go away. We'll be right back as we continue on the locker room on this Friday afternoon. Come see Big Woody at Big Woody's Tires on Highway 202 in Anniston. You can't miss the orange and black shop that offers you the toughest tires that keep you safe and comfortable no matter where your journey leads you. Big Woody's Tires on Highway 202 in Anniston, the orange and black shop. Call Big Woody today at 256-236-3475.
Barrett Body Shop has moved to its new location on Highway 431 in Alexandria. Barrett has been delivering top-notch collision repair in Calhoun County since 2000. Our skilled team restores your vehicle to pre-accident condition with a commitment to quality and safety. Choose Barrett Body Shop for honest, reliable service.
We are back on the locker room on this Friday afternoon. My name is Namath Pitts. I want to thank you for joining us. We are previewing Northeast Alabama Youth Athletics games in our last segment. For the next 2 segments, we're going to preview tonight's high school football games here in East Alabama. So let's start with Coach Ginn and the Alexandria Valley Cubs. They hit the road tonight as they will make the trip to Sardis. These two teams last met in 2019. Alexandria won that game by a score of 16-10. Overall, school history-wise, Alexandria is undefeated 4-0 against Sardis. Alexandria started the season 2-2 with a win over Anion and a win over White Plains. They lost to Anniston and lost to Jacksonville. Alexandria so far this season has scored 110 points and given up 117. So have given up a little bit more defensively than they've been able to make up for offensively. But needless to say, Coach Todd Ginn's team out of 4A Region 6 will head to face another team up towards the North Mountain area, and that is Sardis, just right above Boaz and Gadsden. But Sardis is in 5A Region 8. Coach B.J. Brooks' team has had a little bit of a rough start to the season. They're 1-4. Their only win was over Cleburne County. They lost to Geraldine, Arab, Gunnersville, and Scottsboro, although those are some extremely tough games for Sardis. They've given up 199 points this year, only scored 54, and 34 of those came against Cleburne County. So they've got held to just one score in basically all the other games except for Gunnersville. They got shut out. So again, interesting game between these two teams at Sardis tonight. Again, you talk about a little bit of two teams that could use a win. B.J. Brooks in his second season, they were 6-4 last year under him. 1-4 this year. They play in 5A Region 8. That game again tonight at Sardis. I do want to do my Pitts pick'ems, and I am going to take Alexandria in a close game. I think it'll be a close game, but I do think that Alexandria ultimately will get the win over Sardis. Let's talk about Anniston and Pleasant Grove, two teams that are meeting tonight at Pleasant Grove. And Anniston's a talented team, but it hasn't been necessarily the start to the season Rico Jackson probably wanted in 4A Region 6. Anniston is 2-2. They lost to Beauregard and Hoax Bluff. Again, they did defeat Alexandria and Asheville. They scored 126 points offensively. 62 of those were against Asheville. 40 of those were against Alexandria. Outside of those two games, though, they've been held under 20. Only got 18 against Hoax Bluff. Only got 6 against Beauregard. The defense has given up basically 69 points all season. But they got to go to Pleasant Grove. Look, last time these two teams met, it was 2002. Anniston lost that game 27-6. Pleasant Grove won it 27-6. People know about Darrell LeBeau. Darrell LeBeau is the head coach at Pleasant Grove. Coach Darrell LeBeau is now in his 7th season at Pleasant Grove. Spent some time at Mumford before, earlier in his career. Pleasant Grove has made the playoffs every season under Darrell LeBeau. They made the semifinals they made the championship 3 different times under Darrell LeBeau. Made the semifinals in 22 and lost in the quarterfinals last year. to Gunnersville, 31-21. This season for Coach Darrell LeBeau's team, they play in 4A Region 4. So this is a matchup of 4A teams, South versus Northern. Pleasant Grove's 3-1. Their only loss was to McAdory to start the season. They fell to them 38-35. They've defeated Fairfield, Oak Grove, and Tarrant so far this season. I think skill for skill, these teams are probably even. This game's at Pleasant Grove, though. Pleasant Grove ranked in the top 3 in Class 4A. I am going to have to go with the Spartans. I'm going to go with Darrell LeBeau and the Pleasant Grove Spartans over the Anniston Bulldogs tonight. Tonight, the Cleveland County Tigers make the trip to the Hill to face Walter Welborn in Cleveland County. This was a game that they did win a season ago. Last year, Cleveland County came to Welborn at the end of the season in Week 10 and got a win over Welborn. Cleveland County in their first season under Coach Vaughn Lee, they're in 4A Region 3. They're 1-3 on the season. Their only win was over Talladega, 28-26. They lost to Sardis, to Hanley, and to Booker T. Washington. Although I must say, Booker T. Washington and Hanley are some tough games. They're 1-3. They've scored 69 offensive points, scored 13, 14, 14, 28, but they've given up 136. They've given up 20-plus points per game. The last time, again, these two teams met was in 2023. Last year, Cleveland County won 28-22. But overall, Welborn does lead this series 15-11 with one tie. Again, Welborn has scored over 26 points per game. They scored 26, 28, 30, and 34. They're undefeated on the season. They defeated J.B. Pennington on the road, defeated Weaver and Glencoe at home, and defeated Sachs on the road. They're 4-0, scored 118 points offensively, only giving up 55 defensively. Coach Jeff Smith does a great job at Welborn. Again, this game's on the Hill. I do think it's a little bit of a revenge game for Welborn, looking to stay undefeated before they kind of hit the tough stretch of their schedule. I do think Welborn will win this game, but if Welborn has been playing close games, look, 26-14, 28-9. The score doesn't indicate it. Welborn's been running away with the games in the fourth quarter, but they've been in some close games. I do think tonight will be a little closer, but I do think Welborn will be able to get the win over Cleveland County. Ohatchee makes the trip to Donahoe, and look, I love Coach Bill Smith, but this one might get ugly. Coach Chris Finley's team coming off a win. They're 2-3 on the season. They defeated New Hope and Weaver. They've lost to J.B. Pennington, Piedmont, Locust Fort. What worries me about Ohatchee is everybody talks about how great their offense is. Well, they're going to score every drive. The offense is unbelievable. The offense has only scored 229 points this year. The defense has given up 243. I mean, I don't know that you can fix that at this point in the season. I'm sure Coach Chris Finley would do that if he could. I don't think you can fix this late in the season a defense that plays that bad. So they're just basically in a track meet every game. And, of course, Ohatchee and Donahoe. I mean, Donahoe's struggling. Look, they're 1-4 under Coach Bill Smith. They lost to Galesville, Pleasant Valley, Wadley, and Winterboro. I will say Wadley and Winterboro, tough games. They defeated Raglan. They still got a good schedule in front of them if they want to try to get some wins and make the playoffs. But Donahoe's only scored 81 points this season. They've been held in single digits 3 straight games, 7, 6, and 2. They've given up 173 points. I think this one, hopefully Chris Finley doesn't run the score up on them and will show some good sportsmanship tonight, because I do think Donahoe's not going to be able to stop Ohatchee. So I'm going with the Indians. Jacksonville, Clint Smith's just got a tough schedule. This is a team that's already in a tough region, making the move from 4A to 5A. Jacksonville plays in that 5A Region 6 with Leeds, Moody, and Centerpoint. Jacksonville's 2-3 on the season. They defeated Etowah and Alexandria, but have lost 3 straight to Moody, Centerpoint, and Leeds. They've scored 126 points, got up 171. Jacksonville and Corner have never met before. And for Corner this season, Trent Campbell's team's been really good in 5A Region 5. They're undefeated, 4-0 on the season. They defeated Winfield on the road, defeated Dora, defeated Winona, and Ramsey. So they have some big wins against some teams that probably have better skill-for-skill athletes. They've scored 110 points, only given up 59 this season in 4 games. Coming off a bye week, this game is at Jacksonville tonight. The Golden Eagles get Corner at home. And this is, again, a 5A versus 5A, 5A Region 5 versus 5A Region 6. 2 teams that could see each other in the playoffs potentially. And the final one, Oxford. They went to Mountain Brook last week, and Coach Sam Adams' team got the win. They went for 2 late. It was a monumental win for the Yellow Jackets. They needed that win under Sam Adams, probably one of the biggest wins for the team in Region 6, who is now 5-0. Defeated Central Carrollton, Georgia, defeated Moody, Shades Valley, Pinson Valley, and Mountain Brook. They make the trip back to Birmingham again, where they go to Helena. Oxford has a high-powered offense under Mason Mims, 194 points, only giving up 123. Helena's in 6A Region 3, so this is South versus North. They are 2-2. They won the first 2 games of the season over McAdory and Chilton County, but they've lost 2 straight to 2 good teams, Spain Park and Moody. They've scored 124 points, but given up 95. These 2 teams, Oxford and Helena, have never met before, so this will be their first meeting tonight at Helena. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to preview 6 more games as we close out the locker room. So don't go away. We'll be right back as we continue on the locker room on this Friday afternoon. Come see Big Woody at Big Woody's Tires on Highway 202 in Anniston. You can't miss the orange and black shop that offers you the toughest tires that keep you safe and comfortable no matter where your journey leads you. Big Woody's Tires on Highway 202 in Anniston, the orange and black shop. Call Big Woody today at 256-236-3475.
Barrett Body Shop has moved to its new location on Highway 431 in Alexandria. Barrett has been delivering top-notch collision repair in Calhoun County since 2000. Our skilled team restores your vehicle to pre-accident condition with a commitment to quality and safety. Choose Barrett Body Shop for honest, reliable service. For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
We roll on this Friday afternoon, previewing tonight's high school football games here in East Alabama that consist of Calhoun and Cleveland County teams. We want to remind you to hit that like and follow button on our East Alabama Now page so that you don't miss the locker room. Of course, we're here every weekday at 5 p.m. And of course, our EAN news is tonight at 6:30 p.m. John Holder continuing to keep us up to date on the weather, what it's going to be like tonight for high school football. George Smith has your sports, and Mike Stedman, Katie Edwards bringing you your local news. All right, we're going to get right back into previewing games. We're going to talk about the Ramburn Bulldogs, Coach Stephen Bailey's team out of 2A Region 4, who's 3-2 on the season, coming off a 50-32 win over Central Coosa. They have wins over Lafayette and Woodland this season. Their losses were to Mount Zion, Georgia, and to Reeltown. And the last time that Randolph County and Ramburn met was last season. And of course, Randolph County won that game 49-21. All-time, Randolph County leads this series 35-31. So all-time, Randolph County leads this series. Randolph County coming off a big win over Lee Scott Academy. Randolph County is 4-0. They've beat Woodland, Central Coosa, Dadeville, and Lee Scott Academy. They have a big game next week on the road at Glenwood School. For Randolph County, they've scored 154 points this year, only giving up 35. Their first 3 games, they gave up single digits. Gave up 21 last week. Got to give a shout-out to my man, Gavin Wortham, who's the son of Jeremy Wortham. That's my guy right there. I want to make sure I give him a shout out in case he's watching the locker room tonight. I do think Randolph County will win this game tonight, and this game will be at Ramburn. All right, let's talk about Weaver and Winterboro. It is homecoming night for Weaver, and it is not an easy homecoming game for a team that is still trying to find their first win of the season. Coach Ken Cover's team has they have struggled, but probably underachieved. I think a lot of people thought they would probably beat Sachs, thought they could compete with Ohatchee and Welborn. Not that they didn't compete, thought they'd probably beat Oak Grove. They're 0-4 to start the season. They fell to Oak Grove, Welborn, Sachs, and Ohatchee. Weaver's problems, they've given up 170 points in 4 games. They've only scored 71. Last time these two teams met, it was 1972 Weaver defeated Winterboro in 1972, 19-0. These two teams have met twice in history, and Weaver is 2-0 against Winterboro, but Winterboro is 3-1. They've coming off a 3-game win streak. They defeated Donahoe, Fayetteville, and Central Coosa. They lost to Vincent 19-6 to open the season. Of course, Vincent is ranked in Class 2A at number 6. They're Vincent, by the way, this season still undefeated, so turned out to be a solid loss for Winterboro. Winterboro has scored 130 points. They've scored 40-plus points in 3 straight games, only giving up 46 this season under Coach Skylar Mansfield out of 1A Region 6. This should be a great game, and it is going to be a tough homecoming game for Weaver. I'm actually going to go with Winterboro to get the win over Weaver tonight and spoil their homecoming. All right, B.B. Comer and Piedmont. Coach Jonathan Miller's team, probably one of the best teams in the county, pound for pound, any classification in terms of how they're doing in terms of competition. Piedmont's been really good, rightfully so. Got great players in Raleigh Pinto, Ishmael Bethel. Cole Adams does a great job kind of being the point guard of the offense. And they're 4-0. Big wins over Cherokee County, Sax, Ohatchee, and Westbrook Christian. They still got the big game, Locust Fork, Welborn ahead of them. But I think we're not going to see Piedmont have any problems with taking care of competition this season. I really like what Jonathan Miller's got. They defeated B.B. Comer back in 2019. That was the last time these two teams met. Piedmont won that game 52-14. All time, they are 4-2 against B.B. Comer. Piedmont scored 152 points this year, has given up 70. For Coach Adam Fawcett's team, a team that made the state championship 2 years ago in the semis last year, they've struggled. They're 1-3 now. They lost to Wadley. Good team in 1A, number 1 team in 1A, Vincent, number 6 team in 2A, Glenwood, ranked as well in 3A. So not bad losses, the games that PB Comer probably won a year ago. They are coming off a win over Childersburg. Tough trip to Piedmont, though. BB Comer scored 52 points this year, giving up 92. Adam Fawcett's team. This is a South versus North, both teams in Class 3A. They meet at the Field of Champions. I'm going with Piedmont. All right, Sax, the Wildcats, coming off a loss to Welborn. They are back at home tonight, where they are going to play host to the Central Coosa Cougars. Coach Alfonso Freeney's team is 1-4 on the season. They've lost to Horseshoe Bend, Piedmont, Westbrook Christian, and Welborn. They defeated Weaver 26-20, and they last time they played Central Coosa was 2009. Sax won that game 27-7. They are 3-1 versus Central Coosa all time. Sax has given up 129 points this year, scored 68. Central Coosa struggling under Daniel Flowers. They're 0-5 in 2A Region 4. Look, they lost to Sylacauga, Randolph County, tough games. Winterboro, tough games. Horseshoe Bend and Ramburn. They've given up 251 points. They've given up 40-plus points in every single game. I like Sax to get the win over Central Coosa tonight. How about Pleasant Valley? Coach Nix's team is going to go on the road tonight as they are going to head to Woodland to face the Bobcats. Pleasant Valley got their first win, I believe, ever last week against Sandrock. If I didn't get that mistaken, Coach Nix's team got their first win over Sandrock. They're 3-2. They've lost to Spring Garden and Pisgah, 2 really good losses. They defeated West End, they defeated Donahoe, and they defeated Sandrock. They head to Woodland tonight. Pleasant Valley's, though, giving up 113 points now. 52 of those were against Pisgah, and 34 of those were against Spring Garden. They scored 78 points. They haven't gotten over 28, though. That's something to keep an eye on with Pleasant Valley. They haven't really had a big offensive game yet. And another thing, overall, they're 1-11 in school history against Woodland. The last time these two teams met, it was 2013, and Woodland won that game 55-14. For the Bobcats, under Coach Kevin Smith, they're 1-3. They have a win over Gaston. They lost to Victory Christian, Ramburn, and Randolph County, and they've given up 92 points and scored 46. Coming off a bye week, this game is at Woodland. I do think Pleasant Valley is going to get the win on the road over Woodland. And the final game tonight, Coach Jennings and the White Plains Wildcats are at home tonight, where they will play host to Horseshoe Bend, the Generals. The Horseshoe Bend Generals are coached by Jeremy Phillips. They're 2-2. They have a win over Sax and Central Coosa. They lost to Wadley and Reeltown. 2 pretty good losses. Gave up 62 and 61 in both those games. You take away those 2 games, they've only given up 30 points this season between their wins over Sax and Central Coosa. They've scored 79 points. Overall, Horseshoe Bend, last time they played White Plains was 2007, and Horseshoe Bend won that game 33-27. But White Plains leads the series all-time 3-1. Coach Jennings' team is 1-3. Could desperately use a win before they play Asheville and Aniana, which could be winnable region games. They're still a little bit in front of White Plains. They're not completely out of the mix, although you feel like Oaks Bluff and Cherokee County and Anniston right now are ahead. So they already lost to Alexandria. So it's going to be tough, but they still have everything in front of them. They're 1-3. Their only win was over Talladega to start the season. They've lost to Alexandria, Hokes Bluff, and Cherokee County. Again, Hokes Bluff and Cherokee County are the two top teams in the region right now. But the Alexandria one, that was one they probably could have used, and they fell 35-7. They've given up 133 points defensively, and they've been shut out 2 weeks in a row and only scored 7 against Alexandria. So the offense has been a little slow for White Plains so far this season. All right, that is all the games for tonight that involve our teams in East Alabama. That's going to do it for us down in the locker room. Hope you'll join us back here Monday for youth football highlights. Other than that, stay safe, have a great weekend, and roll Tide.